Good afternoon and welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the MarketSite is my partner in crime from the weekly Markets Review, Chris Dearborn. He's the Managing Director of the Nasdaq Markets Intelligence Desk. Chris, thank you very much for joining me as always. And it doesn't feel like sell and go away in May.
No, it does not. The markets have been rallying nicely for the last few days. And you had some really solid economic numbers that have really kind of pushed us into a more normalized trading atmosphere where the markets are really kind of rallying. You've had good CPI numbers that kind of dampen the inflation fear a little bit. You had good import-export prices showing decent year over year. Nothing great, but still good. And what you really had was, again, record low unemployment numbers coming out yesterday that show that employment in the U.S. is still high in demand. So people are working, they're earning money, they're spending their money, and that bodes well for the GDP number here. And with that, you're getting a nice rally on the back of stocks.
Right, well, that's what I was just going to say. Tech stocks are really lending to this rally, and you're also seeing the 10-year yield continue to fall. So it's kind of the perfect storm for the bull camp this week. But I think the big story is what's happening in the energy space. We're hovering right around three-year highs right now.
We're absolutely, it's $70 a barrel of oil, which is where we are. We just hit, traded north of 71 just the other day this week. And that's, really a multi-year high. And I've seen a couple of reports come out that make a bull case for oil to actually get to $100. And there's plenty of reasons for that. You're coming into geopolitical fears and a little bit of a tension there, especially with the Iranian deal being taken off the table for the U.S. We'll have to see how that plays out. Again, there's Middle East conflict going on. And then, of course, to our partners down in South America, they are having production issues down there. So there's really a squeeze on potential supply that could really make that price jump for demand.
All right, let's take a look at the trading week ahead. You have a number of Fed speakers on the circuit. In fact, we'll have Bullard speaking at the crypto conference, Consensus in New York, which we will be covering. So make sure you stay tuned for some exciting updates from that. But you have retail sales. That'll be big on Tuesday. What I find interesting about what we're coming into, though, we're going to start to get into that earnings vacuum.
Right.
Until we get into the earlier part of the summer. So the market is really going to be super sensitive to the macro headlines, and I think that's where the attention is going to go back to.
There's a lot of things we're looking at and a couple of things that have been driving the market. So the FANG stocks have been kind of in focus. We've been talking about the tech before, and they've all been on a rally. Really, that rally started last Wednesday, coming to Thursday, and we're up anywhere from 2.5% to 3% for all of those names. And those names, because of the weighting within the larger indexes, keep pulling us higher. I don't see anything that's really going to derail that going forward. You do have a couple of large cap names on earnings next week. Remember, retail names usually report later, so you're going to see names like Home Depot, Walmart, Macy's come out. You're also going to see Cisco come out next week. So those can bounce, and John Deere, you can bounce the markets around a little bit as well. But with that, what you have is lower volumes. I've seen the VIX is down 13 again.
From 21 in April.
21 back in April,
move.
right? And with that, you've seen trading volumes continue to decline. We're averaging over 7 billion shares a day for the first part of the year, and now we're coming into about 6.7 billion shares, and that number is declining day over day as the volatility in the markets continues to recede. Those miles driven between peak and trough continue to be less and less, and as that happens, the volumes continue to get a little bit less, more normalized, if you will, to 2017, where the markets average about 6.7 billion shares a day on the consolidated tape. So coming to next week, we got an earnings expiration on Friday that could move the markets. Interesting fact about today is that today's, for those who follow the small cap names and the large cap for the Russell, today is a snapshot day for the Russell reconstitution. So the market cap set today will be what they use going forward for their rebalance in June, which is going to be the 22nd, which is generally one of the 3 highest volume days of the year. Yep. So a lot of things looking forward there. You've got the National for Net Neutrality. We're going to see how that plays out into the markets as well. And
healthcare is also going to be a big story as well.
We got that going on right now.
Going on right now, yes. So I'm curious to see.
So once we unplug, I'm going to go see what the market's doing. Healthcare today was up about 4% coming into it, the S&P 500 index. So the S&P healthcare index, and we'll see where that goes once this plays out with what President Trump has to say.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me as always. We'll catch everyone back here next week. And traders, thank you for joining me throughout the week. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.